Okay, so today I'm going to talk about Ginkgo biloba. So Ginkgo biloba, also known as a ginkgo tree, is a really cool tree with unique leaves that look something like this. Just a little picture I drew. Yeah, so they have these really unique leaves. They're the only living member of their genus, family, order, class, and phylum. Now, this sounds like a lot of scientific jargon, but basically what that means is they have no living cousins at all. And that makes them really special because a ton of trees, basically every tree that I know of, has at least some kind of somewhat related living cousin to it. Ginkgos literally don't. They have nothing that's even slightly related to them. Literally the only thing they have in common with other plants is pretty much that they're a plant. That's about it. Like, they're very distant from any other plant for the most part, and that makes them really special. And the other reason they're really special is because they're actually endangered in the wild in China, where they're native to. There's a very few wild populations, and because of habitat destruction and climate change and stuff, they're very high risk for going extinct. And unfortunately, even though ginkgos are commonly grown, I see only really male cultivars being grown. And these male cultivars, ginkgos, you either have a male or a female tree. You need a male and a female to produce fruit. Well, because there's only male trees, you only get, you have to, they can't produce fruit. And so, because a lot of people grow only male trees, they don't produce fruit. And so, I'm a little bit scared that eventually there's only going to be clones left and not trees capable of producing seeds, because like I said, people only grow these male clones. They're called they're like male cultivars, and a cultivar is basically like a plant that's bred to do something that it doesn't naturally do. It's kind of like a dog breed, you have the original like dog, and then you breed it to do like stuff. It's kind of like how people like bred pugs to be like have a really short nose, and now they have all these health issues. Basically, that's ginkgos right now, like with the cultivars. At least the cultivars are basically like a pug, in that they have all these health issues, and they're not as strong, and they can't produce fruit and seeds. And seeds actually lead to genetic diversity because of genetic recombination, and because they can cross it. You're crossing genetics with other plants. You have all this genetic diversity, which means more resistances to diseases and droughts and floods and all kinds of bad stuff, heat waves, you name it, and so diseases and all that. And so growing the straight species is a lot better than growing cultivars and clones of ginkgo. And you can get the straight species right now pretty easily online. You can get seeds on like Etsy for just a few bucks, and probably a lot of other websites, and even live plants of just the straight species. But yeah, basically, they're really easy to grow. You can literally just pop the seeds in the ground during winter, as long as it's like early or mid-winter, and then they should have enough cold stratification. But basically, they get enough. They're cold long enough, and then basically they will sprout sometime in the summer. Because ginkgo seeds need a period of cold in order to grow, like a few months, basically just winter. So you can also do that with your fridge too. Put them in wet sand. So there's a few different ways to do it. I like to do it naturally and just pop them outside in the ground wherever I plan on having them. But basically, yeah, so they're pretty easy to grow. I mean, that part's a little difficult, but depending on your climate and stuff. But yeah, so basically, they can survive in any soil. They can survive in clay. They can survive in sand. They prefer sandier soil, but they will tolerate clay. They'll grow fine in clay. They like full sun, but they can tolerate some shade as well. The only thing they don't really like is swampy soil, like soil that's always wet and swampy. They can tolerate some flooding occasionally, but not like always flooded and swampy. So they're pretty tolerant plants. They can tolerate road salt, air pollution, all kinds of things. And so yeah, basically it's important to basically though, what I'm saying is it's important to grow male and female ginkgos, not just the male ones, especially not cultivars, because again, cultivars are all clones of each other, and they don't use seeds for cultivars. They take a branch, they cut it off, they dip it in rooting powder and all that, and starts a new plant. But again, that has all the same genetics. So basically, like there was this banana variety called the Gross Michael or Michelle or whatever it's called, and basically they're all clones, just like the male cultivars of ginkgos basically. And a disease, because diseases are very fast evolving, evolve to suddenly infect it. And so because it can infect one plant and they're all copies of each other, they don't have any resistance, so they all like got wiped out except for a few that were lucky or whatever, people protected. But it really just decimated the population and almost made the Gross Michelle or Michael or whatever it's called variety of banana go extinct. And so that's what could happen with ginkgos if we're only growing these male cultivars. You don't get that genetic diversity, and yeah. And also the fruit are really not as stinky as most people say. I mean, they smell bad, yeah, like I've smelled them, but like you're not going to smell them really from a distance, especially not when the plant makes the fruit, which is in the fall, unless you live in a hotter climate. The fruit, when they fall to the ground in the fall, because it's colder, you get less evaporation and less smell released in the fall. And you're not really going to smell it from a distance. Like even if you're standing above it, you're not really going to smell it. It's more if you like get your nose on the ground or something, or if you were to like take fruit and pick them up in your hand or something, that you would really smell the fruit. And then they decompose anyway within, over the winter or whatever. And over the winter they're frozen, so you're not smelling anything. And then they thaws sometimes. But basically by spring they're gone, and it's really no big deal. It's not as bad as most people say. Female ginkgos are really not that bad, and the fruit are actually beautiful too. Beautiful orange fruit, especially because again it's in the fall that they make and ripen those fruit. That you get, you get this beautiful, the leaves turn yellow and you get the orange fruit, and it's really beautiful to look at. And also the fruit have seeds in them, which again is good for genetic diversity, but also a lot of animals like to eat these seeds, like squirrels and stuff. And so sometimes they bury them around the yard and they come up here and there. But they're not invasive or anything in North America. But yeah, it's you get more genetic diversity basically with seeds, and they're actually edible for humans as well if you process them correctly. I believe you have to like cook them or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So ginkgo's a really cool plant, really unique, very special, and very fun to grow. And they'll grow in most climates, especially in the north, but even in a lot of the southeast, I bet. Maybe not Florida, but anything above Florida you could probably grow them fine outside. So yeah.